Police have confirmed that an armed robbery occurred at Ram's Cash and Carry on Wednesday afternoon. Reports suggest armed men entered the establishment and robbed the cashier of an undetermined sum of money. The establishment, according to reports, was closed while police investigated the crime scene. Up to news time, an official report from police was not readily available. SK Newsline will provide more information as it becomes available. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The Rastafarian communities on St. Kitts and Nevis now have the legal support protecting their rights to their beliefs and practices with the use of cannabis as a religious sacrament. The successful passage of the Rastafarian Rights Recognition Bill 2023 into law also provides the basis upon which Rastafarian groups could be registered and have the ability to purchase and acquire land and property, cultivate cannabis, and be full participants in the proposed cannabis industry. Speaking in the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, in his capacity as Minister with responsibility for ecclesiastical and faith-based affairs, introduced the second reading and led off the discussion on the bill in the 20th June sitting of the Parliament. Several ministers and opposition MPs stood in support of the bill.
Rastafarians, brothers and sisters, by including them in an existing process of registration and the benefits to be gained from the same, while ensuring that the protection of the youngest among us in the delicate balance of religious freedom.
Madam Speaker, that's 20 reparative justice requests from the OIU. And do not be fooled. This government did that. Because when we came, the Cannabis Act was not in force. We brought it into force. We are the ones bringing these acts. So we are the ones fulfilling our duty to our Constitution and the court. Madam Speaker, and all that because we want the Rastafari community to be the first persons to benefit from our medicinal cannabis industry and our cannabis tourism industries that will be launched in full this year.
I wish to say that this bill, the Rastafari Rights and Recognition Bill 2023, is a significant step forward in recognizing the rights of Rastafarians and providing a legal framework for the use of cannabis. It is also an opportunity for us to uphold the principles of religious freedom, promote economic development, and fulfill our international obligations.
I want to say how proud I am to stand here on the opposition side, lending support to a bill that was brought by the government side. And I've said before, and I repeat again, that anything that is for the benefit of any group, anyone, beneficial to the entire federation, I am willing to support to ensure that we are moving in the right direction. I believe the Rastafari group have come a long way in the right direction. Certain things will come a long way in the wrong direction. This have been a group that have been persevering and pressing on. So they've come a long way in the right direction, and I want to commend them. And my support is there in its fullest capacity today in supporting this bill before this honorable house.
It's a suite of things that we are doing to make sure that where we did not have it right, that we get it right. And we do it with humility, and we do it with respect, no malice at all, but really in an effort to bring us closer together as a people. And what has gone, we should be, I would say, mature enough to recognize that wrongs were done. And we have the opportunity to correct some of those wrongs. And today, Madam Speaker, I would like to apologize to the Rastafarian community. This took too long to come.
MPs speaking on the Rastafarian Rights Recognition Bill 2023 that was passed in the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romaine Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no bodies.
Grand Masters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akai You Sweet, Preedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The state of the political opposition in St. Kitts and Nevis will consolidate the power and strength of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party administration, despite the challenges facing the government. That's the view of political analyst Peter Wickham.
I honestly think that we're at a stage now in the case of St. Kitts and Nevis, in case of at the federal level, where our attention is so distracted by the opposition realities that we haven't started to look at the government. And I don't think that Dr. Drew's government has been doing a bad job. I don't know that they have been doing an outstanding job, but in the final analysis, our ability to look at their performance is usually set against the context of what's the alternative. And, you know, frankly, I think that even if Dr. Drew is not hitting sixes and fours, he can essentially poke singles for quite some time before we will be in a position to analyze properly what he's doing wrong. He has the opportunity to make several unforced errors because the reality is that the focus right now is on the opposition, and the opposition has demonstrated it is woefully unable to pull itself together. There's no sign of unity on the opposition benches. So even if he were to lose a member, even if he were to lose a member through some issue that he had to fire one of them or something of that nature, even if he were to crack the whip and impose discipline, his government strength comes not from the fact that he has a large number of seats. It is numerically a weak government, but the reality is that it is made strong by virtue of the fact that the opposition is the focus. So I think the attention of St. Kitts and Nevis right now is more distracted by the confusion on the opposition benches, and I think that people are less focused on what's happening at the level of the federal government. And again, Dr. Drew is clearly not doing a disastrous job, and against that background, you know, I think that people will continue to say they will give him a passing grade, and wait until there is something available on the other side that seems more practical.
The opposition political parties on St. Kitts have, in spurts, publicly criticized the policies of the Labour administration, and in very rare instances has the government been criticized by the opposition leader, Premier Mark Brantley. The government, on the other hand, has been touting its accomplishments since taking office and has argued that a lot of time was spent fixing the wrongs of the previous administration. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The St. Kitts Music Festival is not only a world-class entertaining event, it is also about generating tourism activity in the traditional off-season and to boost the island's economic performance overall. According to Ellison Tommy Thompson, travel writers, influencers, and international media will be on the island not only to cover the festival, but also the destination. It is this output that the Tourism Authority uses as part of its marketing toolkit to attract visitors for the following year.
The media that we actually have coming to this music festival, the reason that they are here is so that they can cover the festival and then give us publicity in the markets where they're coming from. So that's part of what we're doing. Also, each year, when we have our sales meetings, we always make sure that the music festival is definitely one of the items that we discuss and ways that we promote it, not only to consumers, but also to the travel trade. We also have the discussions with the airlines in terms of getting the additional lift. Now, next year is going to be a lot easier for us in terms of the lift. When we look at JetBlue, that's going to be year-round, 3 times a week, so it's going to be a lot easier for us to penetrate the Northeast market. So the media that is here currently, that's who we're using. And then the influencers who are coming, they're also going to be doing stories from St. Kitts. And they're not only covering the festival, but they're also going out into the destination, into the community, to our tourist sites, taking advantage of the activities that we have. So they put together really travel logs about St. Kitts. So that is how we use the festival to get additional heads and beds for next year.
The St. Kitts Music Festival starts 22nd June at the Warner Park Event Stadium. Officials indicate that regional and international flights are full, even with the additional capacity added for the festival by carriers such as American Airlines and Intercaribbean. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romaine Virgo, TJ, Valiant. Them boy don't got no bodies. Grand Masters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akayu Sweet, Preedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
this is something we're going to be monitoring very, very closely.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Tuesday that he voiced concerns to his counterparts in China during a rare trip to Beijing about China's military activities in Cuba.
He made very clear that we would have deep concerns about PRC intelligence or military activities in Cuba. And we will protect our homeland. We will protect our interests.
The Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday that China and Cuba are negotiating to establish a joint military training facility on the island that could lead to the stationing of Chinese troops just 100 miles off Florida's coast. Speaking at a press conference in London after his trip to Beijing, Blinken said he pressed for opening military communication channels with China.
President Biden sent me to Beijing because he believes strongly that both the United States and China have an obligation to manage our relationship responsibly. And that starts with strengthening lines of communication.
During Blinken's visit to Beijing earlier this week, the first by a U.S. Secretary of State since 2018, the nations agreed to temper rivalries to avoid conflict, but there were no breakthroughs.
I think both countries see the importance of trying to bring more stability to the relationship.
A lack of open channels between both nations has prompted international jitters, with Beijing's reluctance to engage in regular military-to-military talks with Washington alarming China's neighbors. In Beijing, the two sides appeared entrenched over a multitude of issues, from Taiwan to trade, including U.S. actions toward China's chip industry, plus human rights, and Russia's war against Ukraine, to which China maintains an impartial response.
President Biden said from the outset of Russia's aggression against Ukraine that we would stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes.
Blinken also said on Tuesday that he would announce a new and robust U.S. assistance package for Ukraine on Wednesday at a conference in London aimed at encouraging private companies to invest in the country's reconstruction after Russia's invasion.
The idyllic scenes of gently rolling waves along the sandy shores of the PI coastline kept workers motivated as they lugged pipes down the beach to start the building process of CMOS rafts. The men and women worked diligently, cutting the piping to the perfect length, adhering PVC couplings to the base to form a massive square, and then intricately affixing rope to the structure.
What is happening there this morning is the construction of the rafts. We are going to build 2 rafts, out of which the CMOS plants will be planted. After the raft has been constructed, they will be launched at sea, and then they will be put at anchor. We are using sandbags to anchor the rafts in position.
The hands-on CMOS raft building workshop was spearheaded by the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, the Department of Fisheries, and the Choiseul Fishermen's Cooperative. President Richard John Baptist says the process will continue on the 30th of June, where the cohort will return for both a theoretical and practical element of the building workshop.
On that very same day, we're going to do the planting. We're going to attach the CMOS plant to the ropes, and then we're going to go out at sea and fit it onto the raft.
The project seeks to expand CMOS production in a sustainable manner.
We have already tried the raft CMOS cultivation, which enable us to cultivate the CMOS in a deeper area, in the prairie. It's very successful. And with this knowledge and experience, we are going to deploy the raft in PRI with the collaboration of all the stakeholders. Through this project, we're gonna support to increase the production of the CMOS with the raft method. Also, we will improve the drying method of the CMOS.
The CMOS farming has attracted many new players to the field, given the attractive return on investment for farmers.
CMOS production is recognized. In fact, the CMOS product
is recognized worldwide. The demand for CMOS is getting greater year by year. And by saying this, I mean that because of the demand, high demand in the product, you will find that the market is available, the price is right. So by that, you will find people who are involved in the cultivation of CMOS from Choiseul and otherwise will benefit greatly.
A total of 54 individuals registered for the workshop, including 7 secondary school students, residents of PI and Choiseul, and 5 females. St. Lucia is quickly developing its reputation as the preferred producer of high-quality CMOS products.
Search teams are racing against time to find a tourist submersible that went missing during a dive to the Titanic's wreck. The search is taking place in a remote area, which makes the operation especially challenging.
Communication through water is always very difficult. So once you've lost communication, it's very difficult to locate where it is. One of the big problems with the research is that they don't know whether to look on the surface of the Atlantic or on the seabed. It could be in either place. It's very unlikely it's in between.
A very deep water column to try and find your item, so your footprint of your search will be really big, and then you'll have current effects as well. So if the sub's somewhere in the water column, it can be moving around in a non-predictable manner.
The submersible vanished in the ocean approximately 900 miles from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, where the ocean depth is roughly 13,000 feet.
If it's on the surface of the ocean, it's going to be very difficult to spot because as it's a submersible, it's designed to be neutrally buoyant. So it'll be floating just at the surface, most of it under the water with just a small amount breaking the surface. And it's about the size of a large transit van. And it's painted white. So trying to see that from the air, particularly if they've lost power, so they won't be able to signal, is going to be a real challenge. An additional complication is that the crew cannot get out on their own. They are bolted in. So they're trapped inside. So it makes signaling more of a challenge. If it is on the seabed, it won't be so much a case of looking for them, but listening for them, because we'll be using sonar. And hopefully the crew will then be making some sort of noise on the hull, which can be detected.
Avtar Singh and his neighbors are still in shock at what happened here last week. They saw monkeys being shot just a few meters from their apartments. In this video, Avtar can be heard questioning one of the men, who said he's from Malaysia's Wildlife and National Parks Department. During the confrontation, another man throws what appear to be several dead monkeys into the back of a pickup truck.
The man with the rifle, he just saw when the monkey sat down on a branch there, he just shoot down the monkey fall. And then from where one fellow went in, took the monkey out by the tail with the baby still cling to the body, come and throw in the truck.
Others here say they saw some monkeys being shot at close range after they had been trapped in a cage. The State Wildlife Department denied those allegations and said there were no elements of cruelty in its operation.
We found this on the ground. It appears to be a 12-gauge shotgun shell. A website that sells hunting equipment describes these shells as top-notch for large birds and smaller game.
The State Wildlife Department said it had acted on complaints about damage to property and threats to people's safety. Some of the people who live here say they've coexisted peacefully with the monkeys for years and are disturbed by what they consider an inhumane approach to dealing with them.
It was heartbreaking to watch. It's a sin to kill. I told them not to hurt the monkeys, but they wouldn't listen.
Lawyers say long-tailed macaques should not be killed because they are protected by law.
The Wildlife Department cannot kill any animals. In the event that an animal has become a nuisance or is a disturbance, then the solution is very simple. The Wildlife Department is supposed to capture the said animal or animals and relocate them, not kill them.
This is not the first time the Wildlife Department has been accused of acting illegally. 2 years ago, witnesses say at least 20 dusky-leaved langurs were shot dead by Wildlife Department personnel on grounds they had attacked humans, even though the species is listed as endangered under international conservation law. Florence Louis, Al Jazeera, Kuala Lumpur.
Mervyn Lewis scores! How sweet it is for the Sugar Boys! For the first time ever, St. Kitts and Nevis off to the group stage of the Gold Cup!
The Sugar Boys created history on Tuesday night by qualifying for the CONCACAF Gold Cup for the very first time in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis football. They earned this with a 4-2 penalty shootout victory against French Guiana after drawing 1-1 during regulation time at the Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Tiquani Williams gave the Sugar Boys a well-deserved lead in the 40th minute, but in the second half, Arnold Albelinti of the French Guiana equalized from the penalty spot. Just as the first preliminary round a few days ago, the Sugar Boys executed their kicks, and goalkeeper and captain Jelani Archibald came up with a huge save. Late substitute Mervyn Lewis sealed the deal with a thunderbolt in the top left corner, sending the Sugar Boys into wild celebrations. A handful of St. Kitts Nevis fans who were at the match cheered on with the team. Coach Austin Deco Huggins spoke about the importance of this victory for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Our country is very much in a party mode right now. It's a wonderful feeling. I could hear the guys outside. It's going to be party all night. We are happy to be here. This is a momentous occasion for the Federation. I'm so happy I'm last for words. I don't know how to express myself right now. But we want to say thanks for all who supported the team, all who journey from near or far to support the team as well. Those who live here in this and were present at the stadium. This win is a big win for the whole of St. Kitts and the diaspora alike.
You are a former player. You've had opportunities before to qualify, missed out. What does this mean for you as a coach and a former player to see the team finally getting over the hurdle and qualifying for the Gold Cup?
It means a whole lot. I broke down in tears to see the younger ones now enjoying the opportunity that those who went before them didn't have. Those who went before me, and now I went and I didn't have the opportunity to reach thus far. Others reach close and then we still fall short. But now we made it, and it's a very exciting moment, and I'm feeling very proud. Words cannot explain the feeling that I feel right now.
President of the SKNFA, Atiba Harris, spoke to the players after the match on the pitch.
History. Look at this staff. All local coaching staff. All local coaching staff. Nobody thinks we could have done it. You know? But guess what? You just united the whole country. The whole country now. People home crying. People home in disbelief. You know, the love, the passion. You left it out on the field. I telling all this, even if you had lost on the penalty kick, I would have been proud of all of you. Facts. All of you. You left it out. Everything there. Every single thing. Longy. Your mother there, she proud of you. Looking down. Looking down. Proud of you. You know, history. Watch everybody in the face. Remember this night. Remember this night. I did it for the country. All I did it for the country. The country. If you got cry, let it out.
Here are highlights of some of the celebrations after the match.
Don't worry. I got you.
This marks the first ever appearance in the Gold Cup group stage for St. Kitts and Nevis. They will be placed in Group A with the United States, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica. The first group match is against Trinidad and Tobago on Sunday at the Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale.